Here is the doctor. Yeah, Dr. Sophia. So, what is a Viva? A Viva is it's the final exam of a PhD student. So what do I mean? So usually PhD students are doing research, and at some point it has to end. Research has to end. So a Viva it's an opportunity for you to talk about your research and being examined by people who are experts in that field. But remember, I always say you are the only expert in the work you did, but you need to tell someone, you need to be able to speak about it confidently to an expert panel for them to understand you. So let's go. Viva experiences varies according to unis, according to countries. In the UK, which is where I currently am, the Viva is a closed door. It's closed door. It's just you, yeah, me alone. There's an internal examiner, and that examiner is usually within your university. It's an expert knowledge person in that field. And there's also an external examiner, which could be anyone outside of your uni, outside in the UK or anywhere in the world, as long as they have the field. So once I did my submission, it kicks off a certain process in which my dissertation books are sent up to examiners. Once it gets to the examiners, the two examiners decide what time is ideal for them, and I get an email asking me what date is not suitable for me. So with that being said, the first time I got that email, I was kind of sad because the date was almost 3 months away, and I was like, wow, 12 whole weeks, like, can we do something better? So in between the 12-week period, at some point I just hid my copy of the book. I think you might have seen it from my previous blog. I stayed away from my research because I thought it was also a good break for me. I slowed down my pace in doing loads of things around, probably a little bit of resting, but I always knew the Viva was at the back of my head. And then I think I went more into applying for jobs during that period than anything. So when it was 4 weeks to the Viva date, that's when it hit me that, hey girl, get busy. So I took my copy of the dissertation and I started reading. So I think I did the full reading of the whole dissertation. Then I went in critically analyzing my own work critically. And then the other thing I also did, which was probably one of the worst things for me, it didn't help me, was going online. So when you go online and you click Viva questions, there are loads of them, and I printed maybe about 20 pages worth of questions. I'll sit home or in the library and I'll try to answer all of them, and I realized that was actually draining me because some of the questions are more specific. You can answer like, what's your research about, what's your motivation. Those are like quite standard questions you should definitely know. But when it comes to the technicalities of my work, I struggle to answer those questions because I think I was not phrasing the questions properly to suit my work, so I struggled to answer them. So when I realized that, hey, you're really struggling with this, get those basics down, because when you go online, almost every website is like, what's your motivation for doing this research? Can you tell us your work within 3 to 5 minutes? What are the findings? What's the significance? What's your novel contribution? Those are questions you should definitely be able to answer. So I did those ones. I could actually answer those questions in my sleep. And then I decided, you know what, for the technical bits, I probably need to put in a bit more work, get into the finer details of my research. And then I was doing the worst of the worst questions, which my supervisors thought was going crazy. Yeah, I probably did. So So I did the worst of worst questions with them. I came up with the questions and I was like, I think these are my worst questions. They're like, oh girl, you're stressing out. I was like, really? I'm the one gonna be on the firing squad. So today is the 11th of June and I'm 2 days away from my Viva. Initially I was struggling to get ready, but I think I'm ready now. I don't know if you can even be ready. I think I've covered the bases that I need to. Also, I am going to put up a few pictures on Instagram that's probably going to cause a bit of a stir, because I haven't really told anyone I have submitted and it's been 12 weeks. I do look a bit off. I've not been sleeping well, so I need to try and get my sleep in order, because I can't go and sleep on my Viva. Not gonna happen. Yeah, so we are less than 72 hours to my Viva. 72 hours to Viva. So I'm currently less than 24 hours to my Viva. Hopefully tomorrow by this time everything will be over. I would have passed, and I'll be Dr. Sophia or Dr. Sophia. It's currently 5:16, so I've just been prepping home. Today has actually been difficult, not feeling well. I don't even know where that came from. So yeah, Professor just sent me an email. I was just cracking up because he's like, oh, make sure you have a good night's sleep. I'm like, I don't think I can sleep. This is probably going to be one of those last moments where I don't get any sleep, but or even if I sleep, it's not going to be a good sleep. I still have a bit of practice work to do. My PhD Viva day. Today is June 13. I've been up for a little while now. I have like an hour and a half before going for the Viva. So here we are, final day, with a lot of energy this morning. I'm surprised. I thought I'd be actually nervous. Maybe when I'm going I'll be nervous, but this is the phase of pre-Viva. All I want to say is thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. So that's where we are today and this morning. All right, I'm gonna catch you all later. Yeah, I think I'll take you guys with me when I'm leaving. So I'll take the camera, but I can't vlog during the Viva. See you all when we go. So off we go to Viva. I am awfully surprised I am this calm. Maybe it's calm nervousness. I don't know, but yeah. So off I go. It's raining. Yeah. Bye bye. Hi. No, you actually should join me to film. I need to see my face before and after. So you actually should join me, Richard. That was my supervisor. I think he's gonna come for a video. But yeah, I'm tired. Yeah. Any last words of advice?
Just stay calm and try and relax and enjoy it.
Okay, I'll relax. Keyword, relax.
Yeah.
Keyword, relax. Questions on how 3D structures are formed from elastomers, my testing techniques, my understanding, analysis, and then also during the testing period, one thing I was saying myself, Sophia, whatever questions you ask, just take your time. Nobody is chasing you. So I always, that was like in the back of my head, because I realized sometimes I talk really fast and people can't hear me, and I was like, it also gives me the opportunity to get my thought process in, as opposed to being all over the place, which could come out as you don't know your work. So that happened throughout, and then I think when we were almost halfway, my one of the external examiners excused himself to go use the loo. I'm like, okay, which I find it, I thought I would be the one like asking for a break, but I was rather my examiner. But there's probably a good story to that, because he had just come out of surgery, which we're all aware of, and then I think he also took painkillers. I was like, oh, this Viva experience is getting exciting. So he left to go use the loo, came back, took his medication, then we did continue the Viva. So we went through. There were some pages and chapters that had no questions. Some did more than others. Some of them was like explain the plot, explain the graph, what is going on here, and some portions of the work. So I have a lot of statistical analysis in my work, and they were like, oh girl, this was just too much statistics for us. We just need the basics. So that like when I heard that, I was like, I've been killing myself to do these statistics, only to hear that. But it was so good. They did appreciate to do. And then so with that, so once they got to the end of the book, they were like, okay, we are done. We'll ask you to step out of the room, we'll make our decision, and we'll come call you back. Within us having that chat in like 5 minutes, I see the examiners, and I was thinking, oh, probably they're going for a coffee break, or they were going to use the loo. They were like, oh, come back, we're done. I was like, huh? This was the first time throughout my Viva that my heart was beating, because there are different outcomes of a Viva. So outcome 1 is a pass with no corrections. That means there's nothing else for you to do. Option 2 is pass with minor corrections, which is what I got. So I passed with minor corrections. So I passed with minor correction, which means there are probably a few grammatical errors, which I was expecting. So I still mix up my American and British English. I still struggle with that. Probably that's a consequence of living in two places. And then they wanted a few diagrams redone and stuff like that, so it wasn't a big deal. The third outcome, and you are given 6 months to do those corrections, but you could use a week or 2. The third outcome is a pass with major corrections. Major corrections might send you back into a lab or redo large portions of your work. And then there is being downgraded, so you can also be downgraded to an MPhil. I didn't come struggle for 3 years to get an MPhil. I need to be a doctor. And then the next option is a fail. Yeah, people do fail Vivas. It happens. You can still do 3 years of research work and fail. And so I come in, I sit down, and they are both there, and I'm like, oh Lord, this is it. So this is it. I'm like, oh Lord, help me at this moment. I was like, I need to be calm, basically. I think maybe it was showing on my face. And then the examiners are like, you know what, we're not going to waste your time, we're just going to tell you what the outcome is. I was like, okay. So he goes like, we have read your work, we have heard you this whole morning, and we're happy to let you know you have passed your Viva. When I had passed, I had nothing else. Then when he finished talking, they all looked at me, everybody was congratulating me, and I was like, thank you. I was saying thank you. And then I was like, wait, what do I do now? So at this point, my supervisor steps in and he's like, oh, you guys need to tell her what the next step process is going to be. So my first supervisor, who was with me, took the examiners for lunch and then dropped them off at the train station. Then I came back home. So I was also given the three booklets that had gone to the examiner, so that I could start working on my corrections. So I had to literally had to go through every single page to see if they had comments, and then during my correction time include those. So I took the books, went home, dropped the books home, and at this point I decided to call my African parents. You know, you need some hype sometimes. So when I called my parents, I didn't hear anything they said because they screamed half of the time, like it's expected, you know. And then but I had to end that call And then I walked over to my second supervisor's office. He was happy. So we spoke about the whole Viva experience, and then we took a bunch of pictures, and then I came back home. And then this is when all the fun started. So I came back home. I think that was when it started to hit me that wow, this is actually done and over. So I came back home, laid on the ground, and I was like, wow, God, like this is over. I was so grateful, so grateful, because this journey I've had my ups and I've had my down moments, but that final, it is done. Woo! Sweet baby Jesus had a big part of it. So the Viva, my examiners had like chocolate cookies, and at some point, like during the Viva, they go like, oh Sophia, do you want cookies? I'm like, who eats cookies when they're under fire? So out of my fear and everything, because I usually I'm not really I like chocolate by itself, but chocolate in cookies, nah, not for me. Out of my fear and stress or whatever, yeah, I ate those cookies during my Viva. So I was eating cookies during my Viva, basically. It's a cumstance. Should you go into your Viva and go and argue? It's not an argument, it's a discussion of your work. Email was sent to the whole department too, and then that was it. So I came back home. I forgot to eat that whole evening. I was just like, you know, when you are so full of excitement, happiness, and joy. I didn't eat. And then the next morning I had my supervisor wanted to do lunch with me on Friday, but girl had plans. So Monday I did the lunch with my supervisors, and then he gave me his perspective of the Viva and what needed to be done, and like the whole process. It wasn't new to me, and he was like, have you recovered from the shock? No, it's been a few weeks now, and it still hasn't sunk in, basically. Yeah, so we had lunch. During lunch, the dean popped in. We had the talk. It was mostly advising me as a new and upcoming researcher, things to look out for. So it was really chilled. Hi. It's exactly 1 hour after I finished my Viva. I am back home. The Viva was about 2 hours and 45 minutes long. Going through almost every single page from my 270 plus document dissertation. I think I was really stressing out the necessary. Anyway, not to keep you all hanging, I passed my Viva with minor corrections. I'm still waiting for the official documentation of that from the research office, but that's my Viva. I'm done with PhD basically, so I just need to do a few revisions within my little bit shaking. Not necessarily shaking, more of in a bit of shock, excitement. Somebody needs to pinch me. Somebody just pinch me. So yeah, I'm home now. I think I need to just lay down a bit and just take it all in. Anyway, wow, I'll come back. I'll come back later. Really grateful to loads of people that have made this journey very easy for me. The first one goes to Jesus. Well, because I don't think I would have been able to do any bit of this work without God's grace. So today is my PhD party, and I think I'm ready. If you have stayed this long to watch, you need to be subscribed, You need to be following me on my social media handles as well. And have a fabulous day. And remember, you can do anything you set your mind to do. Alright, peace out. Bye.